You've tuned in to the Todd Coconato Show, the intersection of faith and freedom, and one of the top Christian podcasts in America. And now, coming to you live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, here's the host of the show, Pastor Todd Coconato.
All right, I'm going to go through 5 levels of leadership. 5 levels of leadership. And some of this is inspired from John Maxwell, who's an excellent coach in leadership training. And there's also others, and by the way, I wasn't a fan of Maxwell's actions when it came to the election, so I just want to say that. But I do think he's a good teacher when it comes to leadership. And so we're going to incorporate some of his ideas, and then I'm also going to give you some of my own ideas, because a lot of people want to be leaders, and they don't really know how. And so there's a desire there, but they haven't really been taught or trained. They don't really have the life experience or acumen. They just desire to be a leader. So if you desire to be a leader, that's a good thing, but you need to understand what a leader is. And so that's what we're going to go into today. And a lot of people charge for this type of information. We're actually going to give it to you for free today. But if you do feel like becoming a partner to this broadcast, we would appreciate that, because we're going through it all. We're going to go through everything. We're going to hit every area at some point here on this broadcast so that you can be a powerful, mature believer in Jesus Christ. I pray, my desire is, as you listen to the Todd Coconato Show and this ministry, and you follow the broadcasts and the the teachings and the church services, I pray, my prayer, my biggest desire is that you grow in this season. I pray that you grow. And so that's why we're going to give you good stuff, actionable information. We're going to go in depth into many different areas in the Bible so that you can know how to be effective as a Christian and how to be somebody who's taking back the territory for the kingdom of God. Does that sound good? So let's go through this. 5 levels of leadership, and there's a progression through which leaders grow, develop, influence, and become effective. And so I'm going to give you the overview here. Number 1 is position, or the rights. It's at the first level. People follow a leader because of their position or title. So I'll give you an example. I'm Pastor Todd. Somebody comes to the church and they're going to follow the pastor. At least they're going to give you hope, an opportunity to maybe be their pastor. Maybe they'll trust you. Maybe they'll respect you. But at the first level, people follow a leader because of their position or title. So not necessarily because of respect or personal influence. It's a basic authority level. It's the position. It's the office. Does that make sense? And this level provides a basic authority, but effective leadership is minimal at this stage since it's based solely on the position. You're not going to be a super effective leader if somebody just simply thinks, oh, well, he's a pastor and I'll just follow him. No, there's so many more levels to leadership, and it's a trust factor. It's a respect factor. It's an honor factor. So if you want to be a leader, number 1, so there's people that thrust themselves into position. Don't do that. Wait until it's your time, and when you are promoted or a door opens or somehow you find yourself in a leadership position, usually it'll be the Lord just put you there. You're not thrusting yourself there. Can you show up? Can you say yes? Can you say, send me? I'll be available? Yes. But leadership is going to come to you as you do that. You're not having to force yourself into a role, into a position. Those types of scenarios rarely work if you force yourself there. It's rarely. But you will get this position as you're faithful and you serve. And the way that I became a leader is serving others. I served several other people that were leaders as their assistant, as their armor bearer. I was their understudy. They taught me, they mentored me, and I learned from them. And then when it was my time to become a leader, the Lord opened the door. It was all him. It came to me. I want you to understand that, okay? But I positioned myself in a way that I was teachable, and I honored my leaders, and I wasn't trying to take their job, and I wasn't being spiteful or malicious in my intent. I was honestly, humbly serving them. I could say that truthfully because that's the reality. Anybody that knows me knows that's to be true. So position at the first level, people follow an office. It's a people position, because of their title, not necessarily because of respect or personal influence. Then there's number 2, which is permission. And this is where you develop relationships. So at this level, people follow the leader because they want to, not because they have to. Leadership here is based on building genuine relationships, and leaders listen, they value their team, and they begin to establish trust and influence through these connections. I want you to understand this: cultivating trust, effective communication. Okay? Leaders here are building genuine relationships. So a leader is a people person. A leader is a person that cares about the people that they lead. You love people. You have an honest desire to better their situation, not for your own gain. Okay? You do it honestly and wholeheartedly because you care about them and you want to see them succeed. And so you are training them up. You're not overlording over them. You're not manipulating over them. Those are not real leaders, the people that do that. People follow the leader because they want to. This is what you want as a leader. You want people to follow you because you're genuine, because it's based on genuine relationships. You listen to the people because people want to be heard. Understand that people want to be heard. You value them. You don't overlord. You don't think that you're better than them, or, you look down on them. A lot of people do this. That's not going to be a lasting leader. People are not going to like you. They're not going to want to follow you. It doesn't mean that you're diminishing your role. You keep your role. You are the leader there, and you don't you don't get too close to somebody to where they they start blurring the lines between friendship and leadership. Then you've kind of stepped out of the leadership role and you're more of a friend, and that's you got to be careful there. I've learned as a pastor there has to be boundaries, and you don't want people to get too familiar with you. If you are meant to be their leader, then you need to be their leader. And it doesn't mean you can't hang out with them or love on them or even be friends with them, but there has to be a line drawn there to, hey, here's the situation here. I'm your pastor. If you go to my church, then you need to consider me your pastor. Otherwise, why are you coming to this church? You shouldn't come to the church. If you can't learn from me, if you can't be teachable through my leadership, if you don't trust me or you don't genuinely want to be here, you shouldn't. So it's based on genuine relationships. And we listen, we value our team, and we begin to establish trust and influence through these connections. Okay? We cultivate that trust. Number 3 is production. This is the results. At this level, people follow because of what their leader has achieved. So leaders on this level drive results, and their impact is visible through organizational growth, problem solving, and achievement of goals. Their credibility is built on tangible outcomes. This is now an effective leader. So you want to have the permission in number 2 stage. You want to have those effective relationships and influence. But then what are you going to do together? This is where I believe our church is at right now. We've now established, okay, A, I had the position. 2, I have the permission. And now 3, we're in the production stage where people are following because not only is there an achievement and a blessing and favor that God has put on the ministry, and we're doing things, we're effective. Look at what just happened with the election. We were a part of that. We're not responsible. I mean, we were just a small sliver in a big piece of pie. But the bottom line is we were effective. We were effective in this culture war. We're still effective. We've been given a platform and a voice, and we're stewarding that in a way that honors God, and we're not getting prideful about it. We're not like, ooh, look at me. This is all the Lord. But we're stewarding what God has given us. And so now we're in the production phase, and we're driving results. And this is just the beginning. There's many more results to be driven. And so we're achieving goals. We're setting vision. It's visible through growth. Problems have been solved. There's been achievement. These are all tangible things. And this builds credibility. Okay, so you're leading by example. You're achieving goals, and you're simultaneously building credibility. I'll give you another example. And again, none of this is to be braggadocious here, because again, I couldn't do any of this without the Lord. But we've been very accurate when it comes to certain predictions, and very accurate when it comes to our reporting. And so what that's done, because people have looked at the mainstream news. I remember during the COVID era, for instance, people were saying certain things, and we're saying, no, that's not true. And people were like, wow, are you sure you want to say that? That's pretty bold for you to say. No, that's not true. That doesn't work, or this does work, or, things like that. Trust me, people are always listening, and they're always watching. And what happens is when you get a lot of things right, and even when you get a few things wrong, but they see your heart, and they know you're sincere, and they know you actually believe what you're saying, and you're living it out, what happens is you develop credibility, and that is the production level of leadership. And at that production level, you're going to have outcome. Now, where a lot of people fail in this area is they get stuck at number 1. They're so interested in the title. They're so interested in the position, but they don't get to number 2 where they get the permission level. They're not actually being a real leader. They're not valuing their team. They want to be Lord. They want to be Lord, basically. They're not seeing what a leader is. A servant. A leader is pushing their team upward. A leader is not lording over their people. A leader is not, being elitist in their ways. But a lot of people do that. So they stay at the number 1 and then they don't accomplish anything. They're not successful. Some people stay at number 2. They start developing a team, but they're not leading them anywhere. There's no vision. So they're kind of just like on a hamster wheel. Yes, they have a position. Yes, they have some people's trust and permission, but they're not leading them anywhere. They're not getting vision. That's why the Bible says you die without vision, right? So you want to get to at least the production stage where there is a certain element of things that you've achieved or you are achieving. You're driving results. You're having an impact. It's visible. It's tangible. There's growth. There's problem solving that's happening. And there's an achievement of goals. And the reason why many people don't get to this level is because they're too distracted. They're spread too thin. They're chasing waterfalls. What I mean by that is they're running around chasing this one or that one because they think this person's going to be the one that, gets them to be successful or famous or whatever they think. I see people do. I just saw a dear friend of mine. I think he's a pretty smart guy, but he went to this like leadership thing. And the thing is, I know one of the people's a charlatan in that group. But the thing is like, bro, you probably could teach them. But because they have a big name, a lot of people go because people have a big name. Don't do that. Like, go where you're supposed to go. Learn from who you're supposed to learn from. Don't get caught up from the charlatans. Don't get caught up from the people that are making money off you, and they're not even giving you any real nuggets. They're just giving you a bunch of nonsense. And it sounds good, but then you leave, and it's like, what's the fruit of that meeting? Did you actually get more successful from going to that meeting, or did you just hear a bunch of positive things that sounded good? So you want to get to if you're at the production level, you're going to see organizational growth. There's going to be problems that are solved. There's going to be achievement of goals. Another problem is people don't even set goals. So you get to level 2, you got the permission, you got the trust, you got the relationships, but there's no goals. What is it that you're trying to do? What is the goal? Write down. Where are you trying to go? And the Lord will give you something, and then you have a goal to go towards. And then you can get the results. Now, this is a very important one. Number 4, people development. In this level, leaders focus on developing and empowering others. See, this is a good leader. So not only are you in a position, not only do you have people's permission, in other words, they trust you to lead, not only are you now producing results, but now, and I think we're at this level too, because we're very cognizant of this. We want to raise up leaders. We want to raise up entrepreneurs. We want to raise up people, not for our own benefit, but because we want to see you succeed. That's why I'm doing a podcast like this. Leaders focus on developing and empowering others, and this invest in their team's growth. It's investing in your growth, providing mentorship, training, and opportunities. This level is characterized by a commitment to nurturing future leaders, multiplying leadership impact, and empowering others. So I not only want to, okay, so let's just go through because it might get confusing to some people. You got the position, you got the permission, people trust you, you now have results, and you're making an impact and you're seeing growth. And then what you're doing with that is you're stewarding it wisely, and you're saying, not only do I want to be successful and I want this organization to be successful, but I want everybody here to be successful, and I want to see them grow in their leadership ability, and I want to multiply and then send them out. A lot of churches keep people in their church and don't send them out when they should send them out because they're now ready to go to the next level and plant a church, or you've already taught them what they need to do. They've gleaned enough, 20 years serving at the ministry. And it's like some people are meant to just be that helper forever at your ministry. But there's some people that you've raised up, and now it's time to let them fly. And I think a lot of pastors have a hard time with that because they don't want to let the person go. But you got to let them go when it's their time. And that goes for businesses too. Maybe you could develop a new location. Now you have a leader that you've multiplied that understands your methodology and has now applied it effectively and is able to have growth in their own situation. You see what I'm saying? So it's a ministry, it's a biblical concept, it's a kingdom dynamic that we are making disciples. And when we make disciples, there comes a period of time where you release. Doesn't mean you still don't speak in their life or have a position of authority in their life, but they're now ready to fly. You've trained them. You've taught them in the ways of the Lord. So people development. And this is empowering others. It builds a strong team. It cultivates future leaders. And so in this level, leaders focus on developing and empowering others. They invest in their team's growth. And this could be a church. This could be a business. They provide mentorship, training, and opportunities. And then they empower and let them go. Not always. Sometimes they empower them to run the company and maybe you can retire, or, there's different things. I mean, every situation is a little bit different, but the bottom line is there's a time where you got to release. They've learned everything they're going to learn, or they've learned a lot, enough to where they can now be successful. And then number 5, the pinnacle is respect. The pinnacle level represents the highest level of leadership. At this stage, people follow because of who the leader is and what they represent. And these leaders have achieved respect not only for their accomplishments, but also for their positive legacy that they created. They inspire and influence beyond their immediate organization. Wow. Isn't that something that we all desire? If you're a leader, you should. I pray that we are impacting not only people within this ministry, but people outside this ministry. And it's a real humbling thing if God entrusts you with that. That is a pinnacle level. It's a level of respect. So let's go through these 4 real quick, and then I want to get to the next point here. So number 1 is position. You have a title. Somehow you found yourself in a ministry role or leadership role of a company or whatever. You're your manager. Okay, somebody's entrusted you with a position. So the question when you get to that is, what are you going to do with it, right? You might get somebody who's new on your team. They come, they don't even know who you are. All they know is you're the manager. And so you have the position. But then you get the permission. As you're building this team, they actually want to follow you because there becomes a level of respect through relationship and your genuineness. And you listen and you value them and you establish trust and you influence through those connections of valuing them, of trusting them, of establishing them, okay? Then there's the production level. And this is where people follow because of what the leader has achieved. There's been a certain level of fruit. And leaders on this level drive results, and their impact is visible through organizational growth and problem solving and achievement of goals, and their credibility is built on tangible outcomes. So now you have credibility. There's a history there. There's fruit. People have looked to you. They've seen what you're capable of, right? And then there's the people development, the reproduction stage. And this level, people are focusing on developing and empowering others. They invest in their team's growth, providing mentorship and training and opportunities. And it's characterized by commitment to nurturing future leaders, multiplying leadership impact, that's your impact, and empowering others. And you're empowering others. You're building a strong team. You're cultivating future leaders. And at some point, you're blessing and releasing. And not in a bad way. You're saying, hey, you're ready now to lead your own group. You're ready now to be a small group leader. You're ready now to be a youth pastor. You're ready now to be a college pastor. You're ready now to be a manager. You're ready now to have your own team. You see what I'm saying? You've empowered them. And that doesn't mean that you're not around to still mentor them. It just means that now they're able to achieve another level. They're no longer the person that they were when they first came. They've been empowered. They've been equipped, right? That's effective. And then there's the respect level, number 5, and that's the pinnacle level. It represents the highest level of leadership. And at this stage, people follow because of who the leader is and what they represent. And I pray that you would look at me that way. I pray that I lead in all the ways that I've shared today. I pray that I've achieved respect, not only from my accomplishments, but all the Lord, not me, and a positive legacy. I pray there's a positive legacy. I believe there's fruit. And I pray that I influence you beyond, this ministry. So in other words, wherever you go, I pray that you will take some of these nuggets with you. And if you're listening on the radio and you don't even know what ministry I have, that's great. Then you're one of those people because you're benefiting from what God has done through many years here to get us to the point where we're now on the radio, we're now on podcasts, and now that's exactly what's happening. You see how that works? So let me now go to a few points that I wanted to just talk about here. And we're just going to go through 10 key points to success from a Christian business person's perspective. Okay, we're going to get these kind of quick. But number 1, we got to seek God diligently in all of our decisions. So success begins with seeking God's direction and acknowledging his wisdom above our own plans. Pray over decisions, both big and small, and invite God to lead. And the scripture for that is Proverbs 3:5-6. Okay, number 2, do everything in excellence. Commit yourself to your best version of you in everything that you do, every task, whether visible or behind the scenes. Excellence honors God and builds trust with clients, with customers, with your team. They know you. Hey, look, if Todd's doing it, it's going to be done well. I'm just giving an example. If Jacob is doing it, it's going to do well because we know Jacob and he does things in excellence. If Sandra is doing it, we know Sandra is a woman of integrity. And by the way, that's number 3. But, she's going to do it in excellence. She's going to do it wholeheartedly. And then the scriptures, Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord, not unto men. So number 3, I alluded to it, is practice integrity. Integrity is a foundation for lasting success. It's foundational. Be truthful in your dealings, fair in your practices, and reliable in your commitments. Be reliable. Be integrous. The integrity of the upright will guide them, but perversity of the unfaithful will destroy them. Proverbs 11:3. Proverbs 11:3. Here's number 4, very important. When you become successful or even before, no matter how much money you have, honor God with your finances. Be a cheerful giver. Be a tither. When you get your first fruits, according to Proverbs 3:9-10, okay, honor the Lord with your possessions and with the first fruits of all, what does it say? All your increase. So your barns will be filled with plenty and your vats will overflow with new wine. This is a principle of the Lord. You can't outgive God. So when you're becoming successful in your leadership, you're seeing level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, whatever level you're at right now, and you're seeing productivity and you're seeing accomplishments, and then there's finances coming in, honor the Lord with that and watch what happens. He'll expand your territory. That is a biblical principle. Honor God with your finances. Number 5, serve others wholeheartedly. Success in business is not just about profit, it's about serving others well. So a good leader is going to be a good server. Okay, treat your customers, your employees, and your partners with respect and kindness. And it doesn't mean you can't have boundaries. You can have boundaries. You should have boundaries, but still treat people with kindness. Mark 10:45 says, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So he is the prime example, the number 1 example for us as Christians. We are supposed to be servants. That is a successful leader. A successful leader is a good servant. And you never outgrow serving. You never outgrow servanthood. You're always going to be, no matter how high you get, unless you want to be one of these bad leaders that start lording over people and becoming elitist. And those people usually don't last. So number 6, cultivate diligence and hard work. Number 6, cultivate diligence and hard work. There's no substitute for excellence, for hard work. We talked about that. Success often requires persistence and discipline and a willingness to go the extra mile. Is that you? Are you willing to go the extra mile? Because what I've found is the most successful leaders are willing to go the extra mile. A lot of times it appears one way, but when you get into their shoes, you start realizing they're actually really hard workers. And they actually are not afraid to roll up their sleeves and do whatever. I'm not afraid to clean a toilet. It's not above me. It's not above me to go and weed my garden. It's not above me. It's not above me to wash my own car. It's not above me to do my own laundry. It's not above me to serve people at the church. It's not above me to humbly do whatever it is that God's requiring of me to do. There's times when my father right now has dementia and I've had to take care of him. Not the funnest thing, but you got to do it. You're not too good for anything. Like, you are a hard worker. That's what's going to make you successful. Persistence, discipline, and a willingness to go the extra mile. Write that down. Number 7, be wise with time management. The most successful people are going to have time management skills. That's why you can give the busiest person that you know a task and they will complete it oftentimes sooner and faster and better than somebody that has barely any task. And why? It's because they've learned good time management skills. So Ephesians 15 through 16 says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise people who redeem the time, because the days are evil." So time is one of our most valuable resources. Use it wisely, prioritize effectively, and avoid wasting time on unfruitful pursuits. I call them VDPs. But there's many things that distract people. People say, "Well, I like to play video games." That's fine if you do it on your own time after hours. But if you're doing it on your work time, it's gonna affect your productivity. It's gonna affect your ability to be a successful person all around. You want to make sure that when it's work time, you work and you go above and beyond. There's no substitute for it. And that's where I think a lot of people are missing it in this hour right now. Wise time management. I could literally do a whole podcast just on that, and I probably will. Number 8, build healthy relationships. Success is closely tied to relationships. Build strong, trustworthy connections with people in and out of the workplace, and value the people God places in your path. Value those people. Stay humble. Number 9, stay humble and depend on God. Success can sometimes lead to pride, but a successful Christian businessman or leader recognizes that everything comes from God. Stay humble and give the glory to Him. And lastly, number 10, persevere through challenges with faith. Success doesn't mean everything will be easy. There will be trials, but keep faith that God is with you even in hardship. Persevere knowing that He works all things for good. And that's Galatians 6:9, which says, and let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. So these 10 keys serve as reminders to keep God at the center of our business and our life and our ministry. By building on these principles, you're creating a foundation for lasting success that honors God, blesses others, and brings forth fruit. You'll also be fulfilled, by the way. So I pray that God guides you and blesses you as you apply these truths. And I'm going to tell you, there was a lot of nuggets on today's quick podcast, but if you apply these, you're going to be a successful person in leadership and in business. And every good business has a good leader, and every good church has a good leader. So I know not everything's the same in business and leadership in churches, but there are some things that are the same, and we talked about some of those things today. So hopefully this helps you. We love you. We bless you. We'll be back tomorrow.
I'm rising up with the King by my side. In this world of chaos, He's my God. From the darkness to the light.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to today's broadcast. I hope it blessed you. We are fully listener supported, which means we cannot do the many things that we're doing without your help. Thank you so much for praying about becoming a monthly partner. You can go to pastortodd.org. That's pastortodd.org. And we're going to keep standing. We're going to keep pushing back against the evil in this world. We're going to keep waking up as many folks as possible. We're making it about souls. That is the main mission. We love you and we bless you. We'll see you soon.